So you can click on.
You can dial in. Check it on
So you
the
see
phone.
web link?
Yeah, let me do that as well.
Notes, show all notes. Okay.
Can anyone on site hear us with regard to the high-pitched sound? I don't know if there's anything they can do on their end.
I have to hang up and try again because I don't hear any high-pitched sounds here at all.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you. There was someone else who was also hearing it, so maybe we should both do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It wasn't.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you. There was someone else who was also hearing it, so maybe we should both do that. Thank you.
Puts things in perspective, that doesn't it? Mm-hmm. It's not wicked into it. Watch the time, she said they started exactly.
Okay, so the high pitch is continuing after I dialed in. Is anyone else still hearing it after you dialed in? Okay, so I guess I'm the only one still hearing the high pitch. I might dial in through my computer. So it sounds like not everyone's on mute. The high pitch just stopped. That makes it irritating. Sounds like someone's in their car. If everyone could mute if you're dialed in, that might help with the background noise.
I didn't mute anyone yet because I have to wait for the speakers to, I guess, tell me exactly where they're speaking from. That's why everybody's unmuted right now.
Okay. So the high pitch might go away once you mute everyone. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Tamika, this is Goke. Can you please mute everyone so we don't have the same issues we had in the past?
It's okay, you're using a dialing number, you're not using your computer today?
No, actually, I didn't bring my computer.
Okay, give me 1 second. Is anyone else supposed to be unmuted or just this line?
Mute the whole thing because she's going to present, and if there are questions towards the end, I can ask you to unmute that. Because it also messes up the YouTube.
You sound far away. I can't really hear you. Am I leaving only this line unmuted?
Yeah, mute everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me see the next slide. So if I have it,
Oh, yeah, I went here to say moderator on mute. Yeah, it's better that way because we start hearing the background noise.
That's cool.
Alrighty. Let's start?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Goke Taiwo. I'm with the Office of Equal Opportunity and Civil Rights, and I used to be the program manager for the Federal Women's Group, but that's been transferred to Yolanda, who's not here right now, but she'll be here soon. And we also want to thank everybody for attending here in the auditorium, the media center, and within the regions, and also those working remotely. Today we have a workshop that was rescheduled from March because of inclement weather for the Federal Women's Group titled Building a Professional Network. And we have from also Human Capital Training Institute.
Close. CMS Leadership Institute.
Leadership Institute, thank you. Stacy Bryson, and she will be the instructor for this Lunch and Learn webinar today. And so I'm just going to give a brief biography on Stacy. So Stacy is a master trainer, organizational development consultant, and a professional coach for over 20 years. Currently, she works with the Division of Talent and Development Employee Service Group, Office of Human Capital, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. As a federal employee, she has served several agencies, including U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Small Business Administration. She was also the Community Outreach Coordinator for the Governor's Office for Individuals with Disability. Is that Maryland?
Yes.
Okay, Maryland. Mm-hmm. Stacy earned her Associates of Arts degree in broadcasting from Essex Community College, a Bachelor's of Science degree in Communication from Morgan State, a master's degree in Applied Behavioral Science, Organizational Development from the Johns Hopkins University, and both a master's degree in Divinity and a doctorate degree
I'm
in
sorry,
Ministry.
go ahead.
Yes.
Are you presenting?
No, I'm introducing the instructor.
Okay, could you sound really distant, like really far away?
I'm trying to stand, well, I'm standing in
You guys
front
just
of
let me
the,
know when you're ready, okay?
you want me to start again? You couldn't hear me? Hello?
Hello? You guys sound really, really far away. I'm not sure if you're speaking into
Well,
the
there's,
phone.
no, I'm not speaking to the phones, and we have the, what's it called again?
Microphone.
Microphones
Like, I
dropping
have
down.
everything turned all the way up, and I cannot really hear you.
Okay, I'll start again.
That means everyone else.
I'll start again. I'll try and speak up. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Taiwo. I'm the Officer of Equal Opportunity and Civil Rights. Today we're having lunch and learn workshop for the Federal Women's Group, which was rescheduled for March because of inclement weather. Today's workshop is titled Building Your Professional Network. And this is in collaboration with the Office of Human Capital too. So today's instructor is Stacy Bryson, and I'd like to kind of read a quick biography about her. Stacy Bryson is a master trainer, organizational development consultant, and professional coach of over 20 years. Currently, she works for the Division of Talent Development Employee Service Group, Office of Human Capital, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. As a federal employee, she has served.
Is being recorded.
As a federal employee, she has served several agencies, including U.S. Department of Agriculture, Small Business Administration. She is also a community outreach and coordinator for the state of Maryland's Governor's Office for Individuals with Disability. Stacy Bryson earned her associate's degree, arts degree in broadcasting from Essex Community College, a bachelor's in science degree in communication from Morgan State University, a master's degree in applied behavioral science and organizational development from Johns Hopkins University, and both a master's degree in divinity and a doctoral degree in ministry from FB Institute, College Cemetery, and the School of Counseling. Stacy is an associate certified coach through the International Coaching Federation. I'd like to give a warm welcome to Stacy Bryson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adobe, I appreciate it. Good afternoon. And I am appreciative of you all spending your lunchtime with me. So I appreciate the time, and I'm glad we were able to reschedule this event due to the weather and everyone still being able to come out and participate in our presentation on building your network, your professional network here at CMS. And so we're going to talk about a couple of things in terms of networking. I'm certainly going to give you some tools that you can use and some actual sample, questions that you can use as you're building your network. So we'll have those tools. But really, what we're going to be talking about today is just your mindset when it comes to networking. What approach to networking do you carry around with you in your professional environment? So we're going to talk a lot about our mindset around coaching. And so you see here, we're going to cover three real main areas: communicating with curiosity, maximizing the moment, and success through service. And so how all of those things can play into us creating a network for ourselves as we're working here at CMS. And I have been a CMS employee, I think, so now this is on YouTube, so I should probably try to be right about this answer because I think it changes. I think around 19 years. I base it on the ages of my children. So I think around 19 years that I've been here at CMS and have worked in 4 different components. And so I've utilized my networking skills quite a bit. I started off at a federal agency on a temporary condition as a temporary employee through like an internship program. And it was networking that helped me to turn that temporary position to an extended position, and then shortly thereafter into a full-time position. So what some of the things that we're going to be talking about is based on research that we've done. Yes, believe it or not, there is research on how to create your an effective network. The information today is going to be based on actually some surveying that we did of CMS employees and managers. As a trainer and facilitator, I kind of have a captive audience every now and then, so I took a couple of months to use that opportunity to get some of my participants in other classes to answer a few survey questions on networking. But it'll be also based on my personal experience. There is a method that somehow or another, when I started my federal career, I stumbled upon to turn that temporary position into a full-time position that has worked for me, and I've used it several times, so I'll be speaking from that standpoint as well. So let's get right into it, okay? So we have an hour. We're going to try to jam it in as much into it as we can. Let me just say now, in the event that I forget a little later, my name is Stacy Bryson. I'm a CMS employee, so if you have questions after our session today, or you want to chat a little bit more, or if there's any way that I can be of assistance to you, I am in our Outlook, Stacy.Bryson, Bryson, and we can chat and we can see if I can be of service to you in any way. So before we dig into our information, I want you all to take a few seconds and chat with each other. And if you could, please find out the person next to you. Just choose a partner, unless we have to do trios. I haven't done the math on the folks in the room. But if you could, please just chat with the person next to you, find out their name, and share your name. And ask them what office that they work in, and share what office you work in, and just one or two things that you do while you're here at CMS. So take 3 minutes. When I say 3 minutes, I really mean one. What you do? Where are you doing?
So figuring out what that means.
I work in CMS and we work with the award contracts for the Medicare Administrative Contractors.
Oh, cool. So the max. Oh, yeah. See, I deal with providing the policy government. So I don't really understand. I got questions. You never get that's really why it's one
So we met Daisy now.
Human area which everything is like
sort of the internal program.
Take a few more seconds.
I'm in policy. Mars in the division that I figured
How we doing? Okay. So, in the interest of time, I'm not going to ask you to go around and introduce the folks that you're sitting with, but just tell me what that experience was like for you. Just introducing yourself and saying where you work. What were your thoughts around that? How did that feel for you? Not a big deal. Natural, easy. Someone else? And so it is easy in these type of settings to kind of have that conversation because, well, the facilitator just asked you to do it, right? And so, right, so it gives that that natural, easy, I like the words that you use. We didn't put you on the spot. We didn't say, come stand up and introduce yourself to the whole room. we didn't ask you anything that you didn't know, right? So it's not like you had to, I don't have research on what my name is, right? So we know that already. So we ask you things that you already know, and that's the approach that we want to take to networking. We want to find out for ourselves, when you don't have a facilitator saying, introduce yourself, what can I do to make it easy and natural for me and the other person? So that it feels like it just kind of organically flows into a conversation, and we're not asking people to write dissertations or talk about things that they don't know. Do we have any idea what might be a person's favorite subject?
Themselves.
Themselves. Gala actually did a survey and found out that the people most enjoy talking about themselves. And when we have interactions with people and we have talked about ourselves, we walk away saying, man, I love that Mary. She's a nice girl. And man, it was just so good talking to her. Well, how would you know it was good talking to her? All you talked about was yourself. But that's when people feel good. They feel like they're in a good environment when I have an opportunity to share my story. Everybody has one. And so how can I create an environment where people feel comfortable in sharing their story?
This meeting is being recorded.
Just so you know, this meeting is being recorded. Okay, so when I talk to you about networking, what do you think of? What are some things that come to mind when we think about networking?
Building relationships.
Building relationships, thank you. Somebody else?
Connecting with others.
Okay.
Talking to strangers.
Talking to, woo, okay. Is that good or not good? Talking to.
Good.
I guess it depends.
Okay, all right, nice, fair answer, good.
Learning from others.
Learning from others, nice. Somebody else? So when you decided on where to spend your lunch today, what about building your professional network made you decide to come here opposed to going down to the cafeteria?
I wanted to meet new people.
Okay, nice. Nice.
Hi.
Somebody else? What made this an attractive subject matter for you to study?
I thought about preparing for advancement.
Okay, nice. Okay.
Go K hired me to be here.
What? You said he hired you to be here? So noted. When we have low enrollment for our classes, I'm gonna let Go K know. You tell me what the going rate is, we'll work on that. So really, I mean, that is what we're talking about. When we're talking about networking, we're talking about building relationships, having interactions. You know, I've heard somebody say networking is not something you do, it's who you are or what you have. And in fact, I just participated in a training last week where someone said you don't have to have a large network. You need to have a strong network. And so how can I build those relationships? How can I create those interactions? Somebody just said, you know, I went to an event and they kind of had some canned activities to walk around, you know, to sentence starters, ways to have conversations. And some folks said, I don't know if I feel good about that because it didn't feel natural. And so when you're creating your network, you want to create, again, that natural, organic interaction that'll help you not just to know a lot of people, but have relationships with people. And when we talk about networking, or someone says you need to work on your networking, you don't always know why or have a specific career-related goal in the moment. But it takes time to build those relationships, right? You just, I was about to say, you don't just meet somebody and get married tomorrow, but I guess some people do. So never mind that idea. But you want to have time to build those relationships because you don't know how you'll have to stretch your network down the road. And so when people tell you to build your network or create your network, they could be telling you to prepare your resources for whatever your career might need down the road. So that's what we're thinking about when we talk about what is a network, building those relationships, building those connections. And so again, when we talk about the benefits of the network, a network. It gives you an opportunity to learn from other people. You want to go to the next one for me? The benefits of creating a network. What do you think they are? That's why I have to jump and give the answers.
Resources,
Resources. What else?
meeting people.
Meeting people. What are some of the benefits?
Gives you perspective.
Give a different perspective. Nice. Okay. What else?
New knowledge that you can learn from those people.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some challenges that we face with our networking?
Having time to build those relationships.
Okay. Having time, she said. I don't have time to build those relationships. What else?
Not knowing how or what direction.
Okay. Not knowing what, how, or what direction to go. Challenges.
Who?
Say it again.
Not knowing who.
Not knowing who. Who do I build a network with? Where do I start?
Being authentic.
That can be a challenge, being authentic. Moderator, if you want, we can open the phone lines. Let's see if there's anyone on the phone who want to share some of the challenges that they're having with networking, or just challenges that they know of. Anyone have any challenges to networking that they want to share?
And I would say knowing how vulnerable to be to another person, or knowing like that trust factor with building a relationship with someone new.
Okay. So you don't want them walking away saying, TMI.
Right.
Ooh, I didn't ask you all that. Right. What other challenges?
I would say nurturing.
Hi, hello?
Okay, well, on the phone, 1 second, we have someone answering in the room, go ahead.
Nurturing the relationship.
Nurturing the relationship, thank you. And on the phone line, you were saying?
I was going to say the culture. I came in this way. I'm not going to give everybody my knowledge.
What?
Culture.
The culture, exactly. I don't want to give away. Yeah, I'm just going to hold it to myself. We're going to talk about that in a minute, yep. What else? Anybody else challenges? So again, as I mentioned, we surveyed a couple folks here at CMS, as I mentioned earlier, and here's some of the challenges that they found. One of the ones we just encountered when we're talking about technology, telework. How does that impede my ability to network? How in this virtual environment? How do I telework in this virtual environment? Someone also mentioned time. Wow, this agency is so large. Where do I begin? Where do I start? And so, again, the challenges that you mentioned are things that several of us have experienced here at CMS. And as we become more and more virtual and our agency, grows and grows, that becomes even more of a challenge. So again, looking at the thought process and the mindset that we have around networking, because absolutely, there are certainly the benefits to networking that we want to make sure that we are taking advantage of. So let's go into, so again, as we talk today, we're going to talk about anything that you can do, anything that you want to do, how your networking system can help you with that. I will tell you, I can recall as I started into federal government on a temporary basis, and I had someone who was I was so fortunate to take me under her wing. She was the director of our Office of Equal Opportunity and Civil Rights Office at the Department of Agriculture, Dr. Connie Bales, and she took me under her wing. And I really don't even know what sparked that relationship, but really did teach me about connecting with other people and building those relationships in a professional environment where I didn't feel like I had to give my soul away and share everything, because who really wanted to hear all of that? But I also was able to build those relationships and be of a benefit to someone else, and then my network was ultimately a benefit to me. Let's go to the next one. And so we're going to talk about, as you're looking at the goals that you have for yourself, how can your network benefit and get you to that point? Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is I want you to think about what might my goals be, or what might I want to achieve with my networking skills. And so if you would, in your participant guide, what page is it on in the guide, the Love, Don't Love list? Page 8 in your book, and if you are a virtual participant, this came to you as a separate handout. But I want you to think about your current position and the current role that you play here at CMS. And if you don't have the handout there, if you can just take a blank sheet of paper and fold it and split it in half. And on one side of the page, I want you to think about things in your current position that you love, love, love. And on the other side of the paper, I want you to think about things in your current role or position that you don't love, that is a good opportunities for improvement. And just jot a few of those things down. What are some things about your current position that you love? And what are some things about your position that you don't love? And then for those things that you love, how can you do more of those? How can you share that? And for the things that you don't love, what can you do to fix or mitigate some of those concerns that you have? So just take a few minutes, not a whole lot, maybe 2 or 3 in each column, and then you can finish it up a little bit later. So we'll take a couple 2 minutes. And you see on the handout there, if just thinking about this is a little difficult, you got some questions at the top there that might kind of help your brain think about that. What are some things in your current job that you like? Are you happy in your current job? Is there someone that has a position that you envy? And what about that position do you envy that you don't have an opportunity to do in your current position? So take a few minutes and what do you love? What do you don't love? What do you love? What do you don't love? And then after you've had a chance to kind of jot some things down on your list, would you mind going back to that partner that you introduced yourself to earlier? And is there something that you can do to give you more opportunities to do the things that you love, that you might want to set as a goal for yourself? Or are there some things in the don't love column that, man, I wish I could fix that, but I'm not really sure what that might be to fix it? Chat about that with your partners. Maybe they can give you some insight or a different perspective.
You have a hand
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to share one thing. So one of my mentors was Michelle Snyder, and one of the exercises that and I loved her, by the way, because she was concerned not just about me being a good CMS employee, but being a well-rounded individual.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I love. But one of the exercises that she gave me early on was similar to this, a must and wants list, right? Nice. And I use this for not just professionally, but every decision that my husband and I have had to make. I'm like, okay, let's create a list, right? Mm-hmm. And so the must was, what are the things for like a job? What are the things that the job has to have or you won't even consider it, right? And then on the wants list, what is the ideal work environment? And then you rank them in order of importance to yourself. Nice. And then so when you go to an interview, you know what questions to ask. So it's not just you being interviewed, you can interview them to see if it's a good fit for both of you. So that's something that I've used, like in buying a house and deciding when is the right time to have kids. And so that is something that that she taught me that I've been able to carry. And thank you for sharing that, because a lot of us, myself included, we can be extremely reactionary. And we don't always identify what we want. We wait until we get into a situation and look back and say, that's what I don't want, right? So we don't always know what we want, but we find out what we don't want. And so this gives us a chance to say, you know what, I am here. What do I want to accomplish? What about this thing do I like?
What about it do I like? One, because we could be in a position where we really love where we are. I've say it all the time, I love my job. Well, what about it do you love? And how can I stretch and grow even in that area where I love it so I can continue to love it? Because otherwise, it'll become stagnant. It's like eating Cold Stones every day. Well, never mind, because I could do that. So never mind, that's a bad analogy. But yeah, so no, but even in my good place, when it's good, well, what makes it good? And then when I know what that is, I can make sure that I'm stretching and growing and taking that to another level so that I won't become stagnant. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So thank you very much for sharing that. I appreciate that. Take a few minutes, chat with your colleagues next to you and see if they can give you some insight as you're looking at how can I fix it or how can I do more of it.
Love, I love my coworkers and the culture. What I don't love is the experience of my manager. And it's routine work, it's the same thing all the time. And I feel like it's
Different, yeah. That's operations though. I used to have operations job too. It was like the same. So I love it's details of ideas. It's not in the weeds. It's active management. I don't love the schedule. I used to be a 4-day person. I'm a 5-day person. And I don't love that I'm actually not directly responsible for it. So I used to be like a policy analyst. I was like
Always look at it.
I miss the responsibility. Yeah, the autonomy, responsibilities, kind of thing. Mixed in because like basically my entire role is surrounding. I mean, it's basically built around my shoulders. You know, like the social assistant. Whatever your manager's needs, what you do for the group. Whereas as a policy analyst, you kind of had your plan work. So like
Wow. You always know what you can fix, what you don't love.
Yeah, right?
Other than get a different job.
Like get a different job. That's like the only thing I can think of too.
Your schedule, you had to go to a client. Because of your job.
Yeah.
That's kind of odd.
Yeah, I think that's like the amount of work we do. Just things like always come up every single time.
Sort of.
Yeah. Like Friday's like a full day.
I did. Don't have sort of idea. Yes, I have.
So basically the manager, so I'm a group level essay, so basically like the group level manager will have to fill in for me. But I mean, like they just
Because
it's pretty nice.
Wow.
Because I have been sick for neighbors. Yeah.
So just from chatting with the folks next to you, go ahead and turn to the next page. Is there anything that you, as you were talking to your colleague next to you, that they asked you, anything that sparked a goal that you might want to set for yourself, that you can kind of walk away saying, you know what? I do like this. Maybe I do need to give myself more opportunities to do public speaking because I like public speaking. Or maybe I need to look for opportunities to write a little bit more because that's something I really like and my position is really not giving me an opportunity to do that. So are there any goals from the things that you love, from your love column, that you want to figure out ways to do more of? Or is there anything in your don't love column that you can create a goal for yourself on how you can fix that? You know, my job requires me to do a lot of using spreadsheets, and every time somebody says Excel, I break out in hives. A goal might be to go to the help center and get some help, right? So take a few seconds to can you identify any goals for yourself?
It's a pondering question. You know, what can I have, or where can I have the greater impact? And so I need to think about that.
Wow, nice. How about on the phone lines, moderator, if you want to unmute for a second, is there anybody who identified a goal that they, is kind of thought-provoking for them that they want to share with the group? Anybody identified a goal that they kind of heard themselves identifying as they looked at their love and don't love list?
Well, she said something that was very interesting. She said, I can honestly do my job for free. And I said, that means you're really operating in your purpose. When it's not work, that means it's really you're supposed to be. Yeah. So really identifying what's your like sweet spot in tennis, right? Like what's your sweet spot or what's your
Nice.
passion? What are you naturally passionate about? And then flow there because then it won't seem like work.
It won't seem like work. And granted, thank you for sharing that. And it may not be all of my position.
Right.
But if I'm rocking where a good 80% of my job, I could do it for volunteer work, then I'm doing really good. I'm doing really well. And so what do I need to do to get to that point? And a part of it goes back to knowing what you want in the first place. We don't always put words around that. So again, knowing what you want from your network, as you're building your network, what it is that you are trying to fill for yourself and having some strategy and purpose around that. So now we want to dig into going back to what's our mindset as we're creating our professional network here at CMS. And then this is where I like this concept of communicating with curiosity. So really having a genuine curiosity in our interactions with other people. And so you may have seen classes where they talk about having your own personal brand or having your elevator speech. Having an introduction. I'll tell you, the hardest thing I've ever had to do is take my bio and somebody says, shorten it into 3 sentences. I'm like, no, I work for the government, right? Everything is long in the government. And so, all of those things are great. Yes, you want to have your brand. Yes, you want to have your elevator speech. You want to know who you are and what you bring to the table and all of those things about yourself. But when I'm building a relationship and building my network, I want to genuinely be curious about all of that from someone else. And so when I interact with people, the goal of my interaction is not to let me tell you everything about me. And so I regurgitate everything that I am onto this person. And so they are heavy with facts and figures about Stacey Bryson. Who wants that, right? And so they kind of walk away heavy like, man, I know everything about her. But really, if my mindset is I'm communicating with curiosity, I'm genuinely interested in everything you're willing to share about yourself to me. And so I'm genuinely curious, genuinely interested in other people's experience. Go to the next one. And that's a mindset that we can certainly have when we're interacting with people. Not just telling them about ourselves, but asking them things about themselves and giving them a chance to speak to us. What do you think is the most important thing that we can do to really be masters of this concept of networking? Listening. What else? What's the one thing we can do to really be a master? Practice. Anything else? So close. Both of those, practicing, listening, having good questions, being able to ask good questions is the skill that we need to really be able to master this concept of networking. And so when we're talking about being able to ask good questions, we don't want to have like a list that we follow. Okay, question number 1, where do you work? Okay, and then what do you do? Question number 3. Oh, you already told me that. Okay. So although I'm going to give you some questions and it's in your book, some ideas, but really the concept behind asking good questions is listening. Listening for the answer and then letting that organically flow you into the next question. But how do I ask questions so that I won't feel like people won't feel like they're being interviewed or grilled? I am genuinely curious about your story. I genuinely want to know your experience so much that when you tell the story, I'm imagining myself there. So yeah, I worked in Department of Agriculture and it was, in DC and I had to catch the train. Oh, really? Where did you catch the commuter train? I bet that was early. And you had to leave early and get home late. I am genuinely curious about your story so much that I can see it in my mind's eye. And people know that when you are listening to them and you're listening to plan the next question, they know when you're listening to plan your rebuttal or disagree, and they know when you're listening and you're genuinely curious and getting lost in what they're sharing. That's how we build rapport. Someone said their challenges was building a safe environment, letting it feel natural, letting it be genuine. communicating with curiosity will help get us to those places. And so we have a couple of sample questions that you can use, but really the idea is not to say, ask these 10 questions, but look at the feel of these questions. Really, the feel of the questions is not asking somebody for a bulleted list of, well, tell me how you got to where you are in your career, but really asking them what was their approach, what was their mindset, how was that for you? What's the most interesting thing you found in your career? And so really, here's some good starter questions. So don't just look at the questions, but the mindset that kind of went into those open-ended questions that are exploratory in who you're talking to.
And I think that goes to your motive. Right? And so if I, like when you were talking about being genuine and genuinely wanting to listen, if my motive is, I just want to learn about you, not what you can do for me, but I just want to know you.
Yes.
And it may or may not lead to something, but I just want to know about you.
Yes, you're exact. I mean, class over, right? So that's exactly right. And I will tell you, in the interest of transparency, I can remember going to college, and one of my college professors, again, took me under her wing and just went a little bit above and beyond in sharing with me. I said something, again, I was young in my federal career and a college student, and I said, yeah, I'm trying to build my network, because when I meet people, I'm wondering, like, how can you be of help to me? Like, how can they help me advance my career? And she said, I remember, man, it's humbling, and even sharing it is humbling. She said, well, that's an approach that you meet people and you think about what they can do for you. When I meet people, I think about what I can do for them. Man, it still gives me chills to this day. And so really, the concept of meeting people and building that network and communicating with curiosity, not that I'm digging, so I can see how you can help me later. But I am genuinely interested in knowing you. And man, if I have something that I can give to you and be a benefit to you, that's a bonus. That's how authentic relationships are created and formed. And so then we want to talk about not just communicating with curiosity, but maximizing every single moment that you have to build your network. Every time you walk in the building, it's an opportunity to build your network. And let's just be clear, I'm not talking about building your network with finding senior leaders and how can I meet a senior leader. You want your network to be diverse and no respecter of person. And so we don't want to have GS levels to the, or identify GS levels for the importance of the people in my network. And so I'm not talking about, finding someone who has a position that you might want. I'm talking about just building relationships across the board with no respect of person and maximizing every moment to do that. When you come to events like this, lunch and learns, training sessions through the CMS Leadership Institute, offering classes in person and webinar. Have to give commercials. Check your CMS Leadership Institute catalog to find out the class that might be of interest to you. But wait, there is more. So as you attend these lunch and learn sessions or your all staff meetings, maximize those moments to not just go and get the content of that class, but that's an opportunity for you to build your network. When you're sitting next to someone in a training session, utilize that time. Oh, what office do you work in? Really, what do you do? And maximizing that moment, going to the next one, and getting the most out of that. And every place that you go to in these within the agency, utilize that. You know, one of the best people that you can network with, and I bet all of us in this room have one. Your manager, your boss. Maximizing those interactions with your manager, whether they are just walking into CMS and they walked into that management position, or if they grew up here and was here since the first brick was laid. That is an opportunity for you to get information. And to communicate and build that rapport and be genuinely interested and curious in who they are and their experience, and that will help you in your relationship in building your network and your everyday work. because it gives you a chance to know your manager and to know their experience, what's important to them. It helps you to identify their likes and dislikes. It gives you an opportunity to have a conversation with them, and so you can know what their approach might be. And so talking to them about their experiences, not just the work at hand, maximize those moments that you're interacting with your boss. What's one thing that most components will have over the next couple of months during these summer months here in central offices and even in our regional offices? What are summer outings? Those component barbecues and picnics and bowling experiences and all of those things. Use those opportunities as an opportunity to, again, maximize the moment and interact with the people who are in your area who might be doing work that you don't have the opportunity to do. But man, it's on my like column. I sure do want to do that. Or you know what, here's a skill that I'm good at and I really can't use it here in my office as much as I would like to, but you need some help with that? Oh, well tell me more about what you're doing. So maximizing every moment that you have here at CMS. And then go to the next one. And so I wanted to just give you a list of some of the activities and meetings that we have here at CMS that we might not think as an opportunity to build our network, but it certainly is. And so as we have those special emphasis programs, the Office of Equal Opportunity and Civil Rights, they're kind of the hub of getting information on that. Thank you. Yolanda's raising her hand if you want more information. Really, each one of these special emphasis programs typically have a committee of folks who put something together each year so that CMS can acknowledge these special emphasis groups. Become a part of those. It gives you a chance to work with people outside of your immediate office. And so knowing what those are, Toastmasters. I'm great at public speaking. Good. You need to go to Toastmasters. I'm not great at public speaking. Good. You need to go to Toastmasters. Right? And so use those opportunities. Weight Watchers. Yes, go in there to meet your goal. But if you're going to Weight Watchers here at CMS, guess who's there? Other CMS employees. So maximizing that opportunity, not just to do whatever the event is at hand, but again, building those relationships. And so we wanted to give you a list there, and to the extent that I had contact information, you want to do that. Again, I mentioned going to trainings. I love folks who come to trainings and say, I'm looking for new opportunities and new jobs. And I'm like, okay, well, have you talked to the folks in the room for the class today? So sometimes we have CMS Leadership Institute courses that have 25 to 30 people in it. Work that room, meet those people. Look at the roster and see if anybody mind if I make a copy of the roster. In some classes where we teach the link classes, which is the required class for managers, we let them know we're going to copy the roster. Anybody who wants a copy of it, this is your group. Meet these people, send emails to them. They're in the same position you are. They just started managing this year. Let that be your network. Let that be the folks that you run your ideas by. And so utilize the Leadership Institute courses for those reasons. The interrotational program. I love my job, but what are they doing out there in the CMS world? So when those announcements come out that there are spots available for rotation programs, it gives you an opportunity to, again, spread your wings and build your network. And listen, we all talk about shadowing managers. I'm a big proponent of finding a manager, a senior leader, sending them an email, ask if you can shadow them, but go in there prepared. Go into those shadow opportunities and have ideas of what you want to ask that person, what it is that you want to know. Go onto the intranet for that component and see what they do, and identify questions about their group. Tell me more about this, or what does that mean? How many pennies does that affect? Go into those sessions prepared to maximize the moment, not to tell them everything about you, but with curiosity, find out as much about them as you can. And go into the next one. Utilizing every opportunity to talk to people and find out as much about them with genuine interest. Let's go to the next one. And then the last thing is success through service. And somebody talked about this earlier, and even the comment that I mentioned from my professor. When I go into a setting or I'm creating my network, we're not going into it with the leech mentality. Give me, I'm gonna get everything I can from you. But really having a servant leadership perspective. That I really want to go into this interaction and relationship thinking, what can I offer to you? What is it that I have that might be of benefit for you? And watch how that leads you to success. Have you ever talked to somebody, if you went to a Leadership Institute class, let's say, and you're talking to somebody and you're saying, and they're saying, yeah, well, you know what, I'm working on a project and you have to use that, we have to use the project planner, what is it, Access database, if you use Access, and man, I'm just having a tough time with that database and just figuring out how to set that thing up, and it's just so difficult. And the person you're talking to says, oh, really? We use that all the time. I don't have any issues with it. It's really easy. And you're thinking, oh, that's great. I hate you. Right? But what a life changer it would be if someone said, oh, really? We use Access all the time. Give me a call. I could help you. I could help you set it up. Doesn't that feel different?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And listen, and again, you don't know if that person is a manager, a team lead, a division director, they know a manager, they've seen a manager before, or what have you. But if that person hears of a position available, man, we need somebody to come to our office and help us to build our Access databases. Who do you think they're going to think of first? That person who offered them a gift of their knowledge and information. So yes, you want to know what your goals are, you want to know what you want to accomplish, and building your network might open that door for you, because it did for me. But I can't go into it with, that's my whole goal. If I go into it with really, I'm just going to be generous with what I know and what I have, that will build the relationship, which will then open the door. And so having that mindset of generosity around what we offer. And so my thought is not what you can do for me, but how can my knowledge be of a benefit to you? And really it does come down to being open and willing to share the information that you have. And somebody talked about their challenges earlier about people just hoarding. Like, I'm not telling you what I'm doing, it's job security. It's not really. If you think keeping all that you know is job security, then you've believed the myth and drank the Kool-Aid. It's not. Wow. So sharing what you have and giving your knowledge and being the one who's known, not because they know a lot of people, but what they know they're willing to share. That's what you want to be known for. That whatever knowledge you have, whatever benefit you have, you're willing to bring it to the table every time you come to the table, without respect of who else is in the room. And so having a servant mindset, a generous mindset, is a way that will lead us to success, being willing to share. So again, we talked about 3 things that really affect the mindset that we have around networking: communicating with curiosity, having a genuine interest in the people that you're having the opportunity to meet, maximizing the moment. Every time you walk in this door, even walking from the parking lot, going out for your walks at lunchtime, standing in the cafeteria line is an opportunity for you to build a relationship. So maximizing every single moment that you can. And then letting your service lead you to success. Getting success through your service. And servant followers result in restorative servant leaders. So share what you have. Any other thoughts around networking that anyone wanted to share with anyone else?
No, I just wanted to say, I'm reading a book right now because I'm a firm believer that leaders are readers. Right? So
Absolutely. Nice.
Read a book. So the book that I'm reading now is Mentor Leader by Tony Dungy. He was an NFL coach. He's written a lot of books.
Nice.
But in this particular book, he talked about his approach to leadership was really making the whole good, right?
Absolutely.
Empowering other people and making sure that they were a solid unit and they operated as a unit. And when the unit was operating efficiently, then he was ultimately successful. But his focus and his motive was always on how can I empower you to be the best version of you?
Yes, very nice. Very nice. Thank you.
What's the title of that book?
Mentor Leader by Tony Dungy.
Mentor Leader by Tony Dungy, for the folks on the phone. Excellent. I'll look that one up myself. And in the back of your book there, your participant guide, you'll see several of the books that we use to build this material for you today. Trajectory, I think, is listed there. That's an excellent book that talks about, again, taking your career to the next level. Reach Out. That talks about building your network, not just, of course, here at CMS, but when you want to look at external methods of building your network using social media, using LinkedIn and all of those things, the book Reach Out will help you in having a broad base to creating your network. And then there are a couple of articles there that might be of benefit to you as well. Thank you for sharing that.
And How to Win Friends and Influence People is
Yes,
another one.
it's also listed there.
Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie, look, it's as old as Methuselah. I mean,
Yes,
that
it
book
is.
has been around forever, but and they've updated it, for the digital age. But I will tell you, some principles are just principles, and they remain effective even over the years. And that is one also listed in your list of resources there. How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think the new version says in the digital age. But absolutely, principles tried and true, and also went into the creation of this book as well. Absolutely. Anyone else? Listen, I hope this event has proven insightful and helpful for you. As I mentioned, the skills and the principles and the practices that we're talking about are ones that I've absolutely utilized myself here in a federal agency. And so just being cognizant and doing things on purpose, like we talked about earlier, and being very purposeful in our endeavors to build relationships and cultivate relationships, and not just being known by a lot of people or knowing the names of a lot of people, but really taking the time and cultivating a strong network with the relationships that we have. So I hope this was informative for you. Again, if you have any additional questions for me, certainly you can give us a call and contact us, and I'll be of assistance any way that I can. If you're really looking at your career and you want to work with a professional coach as you're building your career plan or your strategies about networking, please contact the CMS Leadership Institute, and we can provide career coaching services to you where you can work with a certified coach who will provide you with 6 sessions of coaching so that you can talk about your career development plan, and we'll assist you in any way that we can. So certainly feel free to contact us if you have a request for that information as well. Thank you, everybody. I don't want to take any more of your lunchtime. Thank you for inviting me. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for using WebEx.